thoughts for doing a video were, because there's this book that I'm not writing.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of a big one. And I think it's just a way to explore ideas. So today, well, actually, this is kind of what I was thinking of when I first started coming up with the idea. For Christians, we kind of think that we must be created for a purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think that purpose is?
To glorify God and enjoy Him forever, as the Westminster Shorter Catechism puts it.
Oh, I'm not near that smart, but mine was kind of along the glorify God thing,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So then I think the next obvious question
Mm-hmm.
is, how do we glorify God?
By being fully human.
You can't keep begging the question. What does that mean?
To be happy and fulfilled.
Well, my mind is a little bit distracted because then this is something I was thinking about during the run on Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
which is along those lines, but the idea of, because we're created to be in relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's an intentional part of creation?
Mm-hmm.
And that God intended us to be in a relationship?
Mm-hmm.
So, I was thinking that I think that most people would agree that there are probably some people or places or activities or whatever that bring them closer to God.
Mm-hmm.
And so the reverse is also likely to be true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it ought to seem pretty reasonable that we would want to kind of focus on those things that bring us closer and avoid those things that don't bring us closer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking along those lines that I don't want to be someone who is an obstacle for others, using Aaron's word Aaron used once,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
To be that obstacle that makes it harder for them to see God, to know God.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was thinking what things I might do that. And I think there's any number of things that any one of us might do that create an obstacle
Mm-hmm.
for our own or for someone else's faith.
Mm-hmm.
And but I was thinking of, well, who are those or what are those that create an obstacle for me? And I think to the extent that I think about that, I think it ultimately is based on my own weakness, which isn't a bad thing. But it's just like if I say, I actually can't think of anything right now, but if I were to say hang out with a particular person is bad for my spirituality because they party too much and it's just a distraction. To some degree that speaks of my own weakness of not being able to just be with them
Mm-hmm.
despite it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just thinking that.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess my kind of going back and forth between sort of how best to be good for others and how best to hold myself accountable. I mean, it kind of goes back and forth because ultimately it's, it's our own choices.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean that, it doesn't make me bad that I don't want to hang with somebody who maybe is an obstacle for me, but it's important for me to recognize that the fact that they're an obstacle is as much about my own weakness as about them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, that was a bad start. This is day 2 of seeing if I make a video blog. Gosh, I never noticed how wrinkly my neck is. I look old, don't I? Let's see, right now David, who is the we heard yesterday, is at the ER with Emily's grandmother who fell. So I want to make sure we keep them in our prayers. And I have made a conscious choice not to do anything with my hair myself, because I'm calling this running commentary because these are thoughts while running. So I've been running. So this is what I look like. Today, while running, yesterday, kind of did an intro talking about wanting a life focused on glorifying God and what it means to glorify God. And I think part of what that means is to love and live life and appreciate all the gifts God has for us, particularly in a relationship. And talked yesterday about some of the obstacles to that. So today, when I was running, I was thinking about some of the obstacles and thinking about how what we need to be for any particular circumstance depends a great deal on those circumstances and the people. I think sometimes we need to be the one that takes charge and leads others. Sometimes I think we need to step back and let others take charge, or any number of scenarios. And I think how we determine what that is simply, I think, ultimately a matter of prayer and trying to let God work through us and realizing what the circumstances or what the people need from us in that moment to see and know God more fully. There's any number of metaphors that are probably helpful. I tend to go to somewhat physical metaphors. One that I came up with has to do with climbing. There are some times when we need to be the strong one that is pulling others up with us. And being focused and sharp and alert and strong. And then there's other times where it might be the occasion that somebody else needs to build their confidence and needs to know that they can help somebody else. And so we need to let them help us and let ourselves be helped. And I think it's a matter of giving ourselves up to prayer and God. I do hope to make this more interesting and to bring others along with me for the ride. First steps here, so it's pretty candid and pretty real, as you can tell, if nothing else, by my hair. But so far I'm having fun, and we'll see if anyone else ever sees any of it.